Hey, everybody. Welcome to another wacky Tuesday of what in the hell is going on in the universe. See, Gracie's feeling it too. Man, I know y'all are feeling it because it's only Tuesday and it feels like it's been consecutive Mondays and Tuesdays like Groundhog Day over and over for about the past week. I'm definitely feeling it. I'm sure for those of you that were watching Rachel's show last night when she gave me a rating at the end, man, it was on disconnect. I'm still connected to source. Of course, we're always, never disconnected from that. But all the feelings of feeling like we're in this world, I think we're all pulling back and like trying to disconnect for a reason, except for Grace Kelly, who's moaning in the background. So, yeah, that's Gracie for sure. She's wild and crazy all the time. So, guys, I kind of want to get into that tonight too, because what's going on has been affecting everybody physically and emotionally. So it feels like a ton of anxiety. It feels like spiritual constipation. It feels like literal constipation. Feels like our guts are turned inside out a bit. Um, and maybe a bit like depression. And, we're supposed to be there or we wouldn't be feeling it. So there's no point in trying to fight it. But I think it's the discovery of why we're feeling that way, like trying to pinpoint it and figure out exactly what's going on. Come on, Grace, come right here, sweetie. Come sit down. Good girl. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot going on in that way. And so, hey, Mika, hey, Brigitte, Carol, good to see you guys in. Miss Beth Mobley, glad to have everybody in. And we're going to get into it and talk about it tonight as soon as Gracie sits. Grace, sit, please. Sit. Good girl. We're going to get in it. See, she's there too. My animals are feeding off of it pretty bad. Yesterday during Rachel's show, the animals were going nuts. Thank God y'all couldn't hear it, but it was making me crazy in turn. So this is where we are, my friends. So tell me how your week's going. Tell me what's going on with you guys. And I'm going to pull a couple of cards for the collective, as we always like to do. And also take this time to remind you guys that tomorrow Victor will be on. I think we're all back on schedule now. It took us a little bit to kind of get back in after the new year to kind of pile back in and find our way back. But we're definitely finding it. So let me pull a card for the collective. It is a 9 card, and it is dances on one foot. Boy, this is really appropriate. It's called the balancing act. And I think we all feel like we're doing that right now. Like we're just kind of hanging out. I don't know if it's waiting for the shoe to drop or holding our breath. It feels like that kind of anxiety of like, oh God, right? We don't even know why we're feeling that way, but it has a lot to do with that. Hey, Chastity. So yeah, it's kind of balancing on one foot. It's trying to keep things organized when we're not stable and balanced. And that kind of makes it impossible. That's why I'm saying roll with it. Do you know what I mean? If it's here to teach us something. And we have to kind of step back and not force it and see what that is, but it can be a little unsettling. It has a lot to do with our stability and feeling like, because I know I'm feeling that, like we have to find our safe place, our salvation, a place, a physical place and an emotional place where we feel like we can hunker down and survive whatever this is. So it's wild and crazy, you guys. Yep, got to have us all together, Brigitte, for sure. For sure. Carol, you just had a chat reading and that explains so much. Honey, this is, it is where we are. I mean, I've definitely, yesterday I was an anxious hot mess and I'm typically not like that. But yesterday just threw me for a dang loop, man. I'm telling you, I couldn't get my head out of my butt. It was so far up, I didn't know whether to brush my teeth or get an enema. Maybe both. Brigitte, everything I said is going on with you, only not constipated, but the opposite. Well, I'm glad you're not, right? Yeah, I mean, it's affecting us. It's just moving itself through our bodies, right, in different ways. And for some of us, we're seeing it more in a blockage. For others of us, we may feel out of control and be releasing everything, literally. Brigitte, you said, Rachel said about your chakras. So I've been trying to balance chakras today. Listen, do that. Try to stay balanced. But I'm telling you, right now, in the energy we're in, no matter what we do, we're going to feel a little unbalanced. And we just have to find some peace in the chaos as well. The chaos is kind of internal. So that's kind of where we are. All right, baby dolls, anybody want a reading or anybody got a question? I'm happy to be with y'all. I'm sure y'all can see it on my energy. I'm not in a bad mood at all. I'm just a little meh, right? Like not up, not down. I could just like go to sleep and hibernate for the rest of the winter and I'd be totally fine. Wouldn't be a problem at all. All right, guys. Readings, questions, what's up? Did I miss anything? Let me jump over here and see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I think I'm staying on top of it. Chastity, it's good to see you, sweetie. I don't get to see you that much anymore, so it's nice to have you in. It's nice to have all of you girls in. The chaos is all around us, the peace is within. It's true. I mean, listen, the peace is hard to find right now. You know, when you're balancing on one foot and you're standing in the middle of the tornado, even if you're a Russian gymnast, it's going to be hard to keep your balance. So it's got its moments. Chastity, you want a reading? Absolutely, sweetie. Let me see what I can get pulled up for you. So I'm pulling the tarot card, and it's a 17 card that comes back to an 8, and it's called the Eye of the Needle. It's intentionality. All right, so it's all about being focused on intention. Sometimes I think that can be over-focused, like laser focus in a non-helpful way. Sometimes we can put so much pressure on that intentionality that it stalls it, right? If there's too much resistance, it's like pulling a rubber band really far apart. It's going to pop at some point if you have too much going on it. So I'm going to dig a little bit. And if you have anything specific with that, absolutely ask it. But where that intentionality, this is all about relationship, kid. All about relationship. You've been in that mode of releasing for like the last 6 months of kind of the illusion of what you thought you needed to let this new thing come in. And now this new thing comes in and it's not perfect and it's scary a little bit. And there's that, I don't know, vulnerability and letting your guard down and feeling like it's weakness to really show yourself sometimes. I get that because I get that way as well. My daughter said it really well today. She said, ma'am, we've all been brainwashed, right? Into thinking that that we can't count on people, that we can't trust people, and it's a lie. We can. When we open ourselves up and offer that, people will try to meet it instead of trying to disappoint us. When we're expecting BS out of people and bad behavior, we'll sure find it, right? We'll attract it in. But in this scenario, it's not about attracting it in. It's more about you not trusting yourself on this and the other person and being able to open up 100%. There's also a certain amount of inflexibility with you where you're like throwing the brakes on and digging your heels in the dirt and going, hey, look, at this time, it's all my way or the highway. I get that considering everything that you've been through, but it won't work. It'll just cause problems and it's locking that person out. So I think you've got to work on kind of opening your heart up and allowing yourself to be open and vulnerable. It's not weak, baby girl. The strength is in vulnerability and the strength is in honesty and the strength is in allowing yourself to experience it. Just open yourself up, okay? Try to do that if you can. If you've got more questions, Chastity, for sure ask and I will jump in and answer more of them. But in the general sense, that's what I'm picking up on, okay? Okay, goodness gracious. Let's see. Miss Mika, you wanted a reading as well. All right, darling. Hey, Meg, good to see you in. I will get you in just a minute. All right, Mika, let me see what I got for you. Hang on, Chastity's saying something. The younger guy that I saw coming in, he's been here for a couple of months. You don't know if it's sneaky or just your past. It's your past. That's what I'm saying. You've got to learn to put that part aside. And it's really hard to do that. But the past is the past for a reason, right? It should not be part of the present. In fact, that just screws with timelines. And the future is impossible to know. But if you don't push that out of the way, you're going to hang this thing with a noose. So don't do that to yourself. All right, Miss Mika, let me jump on over to you. All right, Mika, for you, I got a 59 card, which is a 14 reducing down to a 3. So this is all about you and other people. This one is called the Wailing Tree. It's reconciliations. However, it's inverted. Okay. I'm going to turn it upright so you can see it. It's a cool card. This is all about old relationships, broken dynamics, broken family dynamics, stopping certain, how do I say it? Certain branches in the tree from growing further, right? It's trying to break generational, well, we'll say curses, but it's not really a curse. generational and genetic behavior or ideology and trying to stop things in their tracks. So a lot of this is about you balancing yourself against the others around you, the way that you grew up, people that you've had in your life forever, trying to break some of those habits so that you can break out of your own shell. And yeah, it's all that's immediately what I'm getting. It's all about others. I mean, I think with you, it's interesting because here we go. We get the theme. We get a theme every time. It's so much about you coming into your own very slowly but surely. You're slow moving when it goes to like opening yourself up to anything, right? You're so, God, how do I say it? Not pessimistic, but untrusting in the way that you view new things. Like in the first moment, you'll be like, yeah, you'll get excited. And then you're like, whoa, 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 slow the horse down, right? And this is all about you kind of stepping back and feeling like, hey, look, a lot of people have screwed me over. A lot of people have let me down where money was concerned, where being dependable or being able to count on them was concerned, and feeling like you had that support and backup, like that cushion, that safety net that we should all have in our people, to just set yourself free and go do anything in the world that you want to do. And there's a big breakthrough moment coming in for you on this. And it's, you know, it's really about you coming into self and balancing yourself out against the lack of wisdom that you had in your life before, right? This is something that just carries on. It's like a really patriarchal way of being, right? Like an old school way of kind of oppressive thinking. And I think that's kind of pushed you in a box. But I see you breaking up and out of that. And I think it's happening, like I said, slow, but it's happening. So you've got some breakthroughs coming in that way. There is something for me that comes in with you about money that comes in around the 17th of next month. So I don't know if you're expecting money, like if you filed taxes early or what's going on, but I do see some money coming in for you. It doesn't look like, you know, lottery kind of money, but it's enough money that it will make you feel more confident in taking more steps. Let me put it that way. So there's some good stuff coming in for you. So hang in there, sweet girl. And again, same thing as with Chastity. If you have other questions, I'll be happy, like more detailed, or if it's something else, just ask and I'll jump in and do it for you, okay? Let me jump down and see if I missed anything here. Chastity, you love his heart. Now you feel bad. You left him twice, and the next day he's calling. Listen, I know it makes you feel insecure. I know that vulnerability is the hardest thing, right? When you are a single mom or a woman who we all have. Let me just back that up. Screw it. It doesn't even matter if you're a single mom. Every woman on this planet currently in this energy has had to fight and dig and claw their way through reality to get anywhere. Period. That's it. We live in a man's world. That's not a bash on men, but that mentality, that masculine energy is so corroded that it's made it really hard for us. And it makes us hard for us to trust anything masculine outside of our children, right? But you have to open up. Don't shut the door on them just yet, sweetie. I think you will be doing yourself a disservice. Okay, Miss Carol. You'd love a read. Do I see someone named Mary Ann around you? Is that the person that you were feeling last week? I'm curious if that's who that was. Do I see Mary Ann around you? It's interesting. It makes me think of my Aunt Mary Ann quite a bit. The nature is actually the opposite, but it's interesting that it comes up. Carol, I'm pulling for you a 28 card, which is a 10 coming down to a 1. So this is all about you, and it's called the Hollow Bone, Teachability. Okay? Really cool card. With Mary Ann, I sense her, but it feels like you're pulling her in, actually. Like you're trying to connect. There's been a disconnect for you for the last couple of months, and you are looking for connection. So you're actually like almost spiritually phone calling people and pulling that energy in. So I do feel her around, but it feels like you've almost beckoned her in, not that she just showed up on her own. I think you need support, and you need strong female support. I mean, but cushioned. Strong in the sense of, in the presence of that it's there, but cushioned in the sense of that it's non-intrusive and just kind of like a soft pillow to fall back on. So I do feel her around, but again, I think it's you pulling that in. I think it's absolutely all of that. I don't know if she had a son. It feels like for me that there's a younger man, feels like a son for me. Could be a female with more masculine energy. Um, but I feel that person coming in really strong with her energy as well, like a real focal point of thought. So I will throw that out there. I don't know what it means, but that's where I'm at with it. Okay, Miss Beth, let's see what we got. General reading for Miss Beth. Gotcha. All righty. Miss Beth, you have got a 10 card, which reduces down to 1. So all about you. It's called Deep Diver, diving into a task. So this is all about you have been storing up your energy, getting prepared to take something on, even if you don't know what it is. But you've been like just building up that pantry, right? Putting back the canned goods. And I'm saying that kind of in a spiritual, like an emotional sense as well. But putting things back and trying to get yourself prepared. For me, it feels like you have a lot of separation from things going on. And I'm not sure if this is like family and or friends or people that you've been close with that you're kind of distancing yourself from, or if this is more work related. But if it's that relationship feeling of people that you're around a lot, sometimes it's hard for me to distinguish whether they're family or work people because we spend so much of our life at work. But I definitely feel like a real separation from that. It's like you backing up from any old agreements that you felt like you made, either consciously or unconsciously, to kind of claim your own space again. It's all about space for you. It's all about recognizing the peace that you deserve within whatever space you're in, whenever you're in it, whether you're walking down the street or whether you're in your living room. But it's about you saying, like, I'm tired and I want mine. I want my peace back. I want that space back. It feels really heavy for me in that area. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with y'all's comments as well. But yeah, it just feels like a lot of that. And I feel like a lot with this is you or someone really close to you, like considering a job change or a career change. But there's a shift in that part of life that feels like it's about to happen. And it's going to be substantial. I mean, it's going to be like the ending of something, the finish of something. So I'm not sure if this is like retirement or truly that, like I said, you're finishing or ending relationships with people that you've been around. But I feel a lot of change coming in that way. Absolutely. And be mindful with money, please, because I know that's a big insecurity. Please make sure that you are watching every single dime. I'm sure you already are, but just make sure you're watching every penny, okay? All right, let me see. Meg, let me get to you, darling. 1 second. Let me jump down and see if I missed anything. Mika, you're very welcome. Keep standing your ground, okay? Stand your ground with your sister. Keep standing your ground with anything that's generational that needs to be broken. Not all branches need to keep on growing. We trim trees in the fall for a reason, right? We prune them. So it's kind of like doing the same thing. All right, Miss Carol. So Marianne came up out of nowhere. Yeah, there's something about her and this boy, that man, that come in for me really heavy. So we'll see how that kind of works out. But I think it's more you pull it in. Can't speak, pulling it in. All right, Miss Meg. Let's see. You're just getting over a rough patch in your relationship and wondering how it's going to go from here. All right, sweetie. I'm pulling for you a 23, which is a 5. It's called the Fortune's Wheel. It's luck and the right timing, okay? It's upside down. It's inverted. So before you freak out, it doesn't mean that you're in a bad position. What it does mean is that you are in the middle of something for a reason. You're in the middle because it's neither right nor wrong. You're in the middle because there's still a lot that has to be worked out. Things are going to get a little tougher before they get better. But I do see this coming out absolutely successfully over the next 9 and 10 weeks. You guys have a lot of inner work y'all need to do. And there's a lot of forgiving yourselves and forgiving each other and forgiving just situational things as well, like letting little things from the outside come in and mess y'all up and letting little things get out of hand or go too far because nobody wanted to, rock the boat or cause any problems. But it's going to move through really clearly. And I think the good thing here is that you're learning to stand your ground and your companion is learning to step out of the illusion that as long as he is physically there, that everything's okay. So that's a good thing. This is a wake-up call. But like I said, it's going to get a little harder before it gets better, but that's okay. There's a lot that has to come out. There's a lot of conversation and a lot of emotion and feelings that need to come out. And they happen situationally over time, right? The right timing. I think that's where that card came in. We're dead in the middle. That timing has to balance out where each one of those aspects can be worked out so that you guys can find your path, but it's going to be okay. You guys are going to be absolutely fine. By the time we get into March, you guys are going to be solid. By the time we get to Easter, this is going to be a distant memory. So just hang tight, sweet girl, okay? Everything's going to be fine, I promise. Not to worry. All right, let me jump down. Facebook user said, hey, y'all, I'm not sure who that is. Is that Sandy? Yeah, it's Sandy. Hey, Miss Sandy Gross. Brigitte, you'd like a reading? Absolutely. Welcome, Diane. I can't see you. There you are. Hey, Diane, good to see you in, sweet girl. And Miss Beth, you've been working on peace and taking it back. You've also been cleaning out your house. Last weekend was your pantry. That's funny. Well, no wonder the canned good reference came up, like the canning. You have to claim that peace, Beth. That's a big deal right now. You know, there really is a reason why we're all kind of caved in here, you know, doing what we got to do on the internal work. Sandy, hey, sweet girl, thanks for my time. Well, what else am I going to do? I'm just watching reruns and drinking wine at this point because I don't have anything better to do. But I'm glad to be here. All right, let me see. Where was it? Miss Brigitte. All right, sweet girl. So for you, I'm pulling a 1 card, so all about you. It's called a tidy house. You guys have seen this one before, and it's clarity and organization. Okay? So this is all about the inner work that you're doing. It's about moving over some rough patches and really doing that inner work again. And you're such a big energy worker that I think it's always about keeping a balance on that, keeping a balance between the everyday things that you're going through and that you have to deal with and trying to manage yours as well. Because I think you're someone who's really sensitive to that anxious energy. So if things get off a little bit, it kind of spurs you off in another direction. But it is a lot about just kind of, I don't know, balancing the influences too of people that you've had in your life recently. I know a little bit about what's going on in those areas, so I know that it's a new thing to now navigate your energy somewhere else, to put your concern somewhere else on the day-to-day. And that can be a little bit of a shift. I know also with you that you're concerned about money and where things are going to go, that you're feeling a little lackluster. I get that. Sometimes you can be too much of a realist. I know as much as you have a beautiful, fantastical mind, you have this real duality between being way up here in that world and then hitting rock hard, right? Like your parachute just didn't have any more air in the cell at all. And so it's really about you just kind of doing all that inner work now to find your balance again. But you're about to come back into the spring of things. I think one of the other things that's kind of coming up is the role of caregiver, because you have been so much for so many people. But that role for you is about to increase a little bit. And I think you feel that on some level. So there's a little bit of like, oh God, oh God, oh God. Please don't let things get any worse. I can't take anymore, but you can take it. You're strong. You can take it. And it's not that they get worse. They just shift. Okay. So there's some movement in there. So try to find your balancing as much as you can. And also just let things organically be whatever they're going to be without them, I don't know how to say, controlling your world quite so much. Even though it's all around you, you don't have to own all of it personally. You can be present and be part of and do your part without absorbing all of that. So be careful with that, okay? Okay, let's see where we are. Miss Diane, you finally made it. You should do it, girl. You finally made it. Oh, goodness, guys. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. I was talking just fine before. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Diane, can I give you a read about your son? Absolutely. Izzy, good to see you, sweetie. Meg, you're very welcome, darling. It is my pleasure. All right, Miss Diane, let's see what we can pull about your son. I have got a 57 here, which comes out to a 12, comes down to 3. This is all about family and close immediate people. And it's called the Unmarked Trail of Revelation. However, it is inverted. So when I'm looking at that, it's talking about what's going on with your son. This is not something new. This is not an unknown trail. This is a trail that we've gone down many times. And, we were talking earlier in the show about kind of breaking generational things, kind of breaking the way things have been done, because we realize now how broken it all actually is, right? That we have to make some huge changes and reformation of the way that we manage ourselves and our relationships. And a lot with your son comes down that way for me, because the real question is about his ability to be firm and stick with things. I hear a lot of, yeah, this time I'll do it. This time I'll do it. Right. Like I got it. But it always seems to fall through because there's no follow through. It's a stability issue. And it feels really almost juvenile in the sense of like immaturity of that he hasn't matured emotionally to where his age is, right? It just feels like the fall's been cushioned a lot. He hasn't, like, he's landed a couple times, right? But like the blows get cushioned a little bit to try to save the peace, to try to save everything. So where he's concerned, there's a real control game that goes back and forth. And it's a lot of movement with him because it feels like manipulation to a big degree, like emotional manipulation. So you guys just have to stand really firm with where you are, supporting and loving, but also realizing that his path isn't your path, that this is his alone to kind of deal with. And so you can be there to support like that pillow, but you're not the sofa. Do you know what I mean? You're not there to hold all the weight. You're just to make it comfortable when it needs to be. But you guys need to back out of that just a little bit. There's just drama with him a lot. And a lot of it I see with, like, I don't know, just that immaturity thing, and with partner decisions and irresponsibility to a degree in that area. It worries me a little bit, although he'll come around, but I don't know how far he has to go or how many knots upside the head he's going to have to get before he gets it. But it's not y'all's to carry. So you can also put it down, right? You can also have that boundary of putting it down without turning your back on him. Those are two completely different things. So I hope that helps, sweet girl. Oh, Miss Izzy. How are you doing, sweetie? Hey, Vic, what's going on? Lots going on. That's what's going on. Hey, Miss Deborah, lots going on. Diane, oh, you're so welcome, sweetie. Anytime. Listen, we're just there. We're just in this weird thing, right? Like we're in this funky energy. And the truth is, we don't feel like we can count on anybody or that we have anybody to turn to. And we all feel like we're kind of in it alone. And maybe we are for a minute, even though we know we're not really. We're never really alone. But maybe we're in this movement of it and feeling that way. I think we kind of have to bust through that fear before we see any light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, goodness gracious. Anybody else want a reading while I'm here listening to jazz music? Hey, Miss Kelsey, good to see you, sweetie. Did you guys see all that crazy weather? I got to check on my son in Houston. Apparently there was a big tornado down there just a little while ago, and then they got snow just above it, right? Like 100 miles up. Kelsey, you'll take a reading? Sandy, pick me. I got you, girl. No problems. All right, Miss Sandy, let me get you in here, sweet girl, and see what we got going on. Okay. I got for you a 49 card, breaking down to a 13, coming back to a 4, and it's called Skywriting, the Fates. That's an interesting card. I don't know if I've pulled that one before. You know, a lot of it's about kind of pulling ideas out of the air, or pulling scenarios out of the air that may not be there 100%, or creating a storyline for ourselves to justify things, which is a storyline, right? We're taking bits and pieces of things that have happened, but we're blowing it into something more. I think with you, that's kind of what I see going on right now. It seems to be centered around family and feeling like people are procrastinating and not doing what they need to do. Although I think it's more aimed at you. I think there are people who feel like you're not pushing hard enough to move forward, to let go, to propel yourself. And you and I both know that has to be at your own pace. But it's something that needs to be talked about and communicated because it's coming from a place of love. Okay, so that skywriting thing, I think for you is about not creating a storyline of people being against you, but understanding that there's a message in what they're saying that's for you. Do you know what I mean? That's coming from a place of love. There's always a positive message, even when we hear something that doesn't sound so good. But if we take it and use it as something to build ourselves on, we can propel ourselves. And that's what I feel like it is. I think it's, you also, a lot like Chastity, have to learn how to open your heart up to other people again. I know it's hard when it gets stomped on a lot, but we have to own our responsibility in that part of those relationships as well. We fix those things, right? And we move on. But if we walk around with Band-Aids all the time, we look like a mummy, right? You got to rip the Band-Aids off and just kind of let yourself heal and get back out there, girl, and get on it. So stay on it. Just take the messages, take the things that are said, and look at them from a learning standpoint and not an attack, okay? Because they're not meant as an attack. You got this, girl. You have got this. Okay, let me see. Where am I at? Kelsey, right. So you just got done having a reading done for your cat. Oh, so that was the woman who does the animal thing. You're wondering why you're so exhausted and fighting a never-ending migraine again while work is super boring. Honey, the exhaustion, a lot of that's just the energy that we're in, but it's also like being a hamster on the wheel. If you stay in the same energetic all the time, you're going to be exhausted, right? If you're constantly running on the same wheel and the same train of thought and staying in the same energy, you're going to be wiped out all the time. And of course, you're going to get a migraine. I think there's a lot with you that you need to separate from. So I'm going to give you a challenge. Whether you take a break from us or from other readers, I'm going to give you a challenge. Watch one show a week. I think you need less input and not more input because I think you get too much sometimes, too much information. And I think it's interfering with your ability to just authentically make the decision 100% on your own. So take a little step back from everything. Step off the wheel and step out of that energetic for a minute. Let's see if those things don't clear themselves up. Because I got a feeling they probably will. Hi, Bo. Good to have you in here. You're new. I don't know you, Bo, so I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for taking your time to be here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Let's see. Chastity. So you're just going to flat out ask, is Brian cheating or wanting someone else? Not cheating. Considering, I think he's sitting back and considering whether this is the right thing for him or not, because he's worried that people older than him or people that have had more experience than him have more damage. There's a real catch-22 there because your energy is feeding that. So no, I don't feel the cheating, but I do feel him questioning if this is the right thing. I think you have to really step back and try to put yourself in his shoes and see it from a different point of view, because you're bringing a whole big dynamic into this that's firm and not flexible, right? And that's hard for somebody to find their position and their way into that situation. So maybe step back a little bit. But no, I don't see him cheating, sweetie. All right. Sandy, you understand completely and you're on it? Yes. Good. Oh, my goodness, you guys. What's nice to have you in, Bo. Do you have a question or did you want a reading? If you do, let me know. If you've got a question, I'll be happy to do it. If you want a general reading, I'm happy to do that too. Not a problem in the world. We're always happy to get new people in. We've got such a good group in here all the time. I know Rachel, when she and I talk offline after her shows, because you guys know she works on another network, but she's always talking about how much she loves you guys because the energy is so much different in this network versus the other ones. And she just always wants to work with you guys. She goes way over, right? Victor, the same way. Wanda, we're not getting Wanda to go over. You can forget that. That old lady's nailed in time. She's a bigger time Nazi than I am. I'm joking. I love you, Wanda, if you're watching, but I know she ain't. She's already in the bed. Oh, Izzy, you'd like a reading? No problem. I gotcha. And Bo, let me know, sweetie. If you got something you want to ask or you want something general, just let me know, okay? Izzy, let me jump in and see what I can pull for you, sweetie. I've got a 45 card, which is a 9, and it's called Repairing the Veil. It's all about forgiveness, okay? So this is really more about forgiving yourself. It feels like a lot of old stuff, like even some things that you've pulled in from other life experience. I'm not a big proponent for past life. I believe that we live spherically, concurrently, so I think a lot of that kind of we're constantly working on allowing and forgiving and all of those things within those different energetic experiences. But I think a lot of yours is about that. It's about kind of moving past things you feel like you've done to yourself. I mean, there may have been other people that made you feel that way, but I think it feels more like self-defeatist type things. It also feels for me like there's this is either your partner, your romantic partner, or somebody you are super, super close with. But there is a strong, strong soul connection that comes in that is very committed for me. I think sometimes you worry if people are going to hold up their end and be 100% reliable, like if you can really depend on them. So it's again that kind of theme of not wanting to let your guard down all the way, right? Like let somebody know you really all the way, although you're a really open person. But I think a lot of your openness is defense, is protection more than anything else. You're like, let me just go ahead and throw it all out there, right? So you don't have anything to use against me. But it feels like this other person is desperate to get to that point of really understanding your heart and your mind completely, because it looks like there's some big decisions coming in. So let me know when those things come up. But I think you have some big decisions to make about your life, how you want to live it, with a significant other or somebody that you're super, super close with. Like I said, feels like big conversations coming. So let me know how that goes. Okay. Let me know how that's working out, but it feels like a lot coming in, a whole lot. You guys are all going to have a whole lot coming in, and you're welcome. This says, I'm happy to do it for you. It just, I'm careful on here. I don't ever want to throw anybody's dirty laundry out. This is not just at you, Izzy. This is for everybody. So I try to keep things as easygoing as I can, because I don't want to, I don't want to put all your personal stuff out there. Typically, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I think for a lot of the women, we kind of have to, we have to get our heads out of our butts a little bit. We've all been hard. We needed to be. We've just gone through a big push, a big shift, a big transformation on this planet with all this energetic shifting. And we're still pushing through it. It makes us defensive and makes us want to be hard. But that's not who we are. The strength in feminine energy is in its gentleness, in its kindness, in its ability to be fluid, right? And not be so dug in, so grounded. Feminine energy is something that adjusts and moves and changes and bends. It doesn't have to sacrifice itself. It's like a river flowing around the rocks. It knows how to move to stay in current and in alignment with source. If we just let it do that, right? But we have to open up. If you dam the river up, it is what it is. You're going to end up with a big old ball of everything inside of yourself, not knowing what to do. So that's really for all of us. Sandy, who are you talking about? So pretty, girl. Did I miss something? What did I miss? You guys are a mess. But yeah, that's where we are, guys. I mean, that's the energetic right now. It just is what it is. And I know everybody was excited about Mercury going back direct. But, I have to be honest with you. I think I feel better during the retrograde than I have with it going direct. All it's done for me is just directly go right down the toilet. Oh, my dog's beautiful. Oh, you can't remember her name? Grace Kelly. Gracie, do you want to come say hi to Sandy? See, you should have gone with us. Come, Uni. Grace, she's super nervous today. You want to come up and say hi? Come. Let me see if I can get her. Come, Mama. Okay, here we go. Can you say hi to Sandy? Look, Grace, right here. Can you say hi? Oh, poor old Grace. She is stinking pretty, but she's also a real pain in the butt. She and the puppy that we're fostering right now, these two are conspiring against me constantly. That little monkey's about to make me crazy, but she is a pretty girl. Thanks, Diane. She is beautiful. I love her to death. She's just, when I'm anxious, like where my energy is right now, you know how these animals are, they pick up on it. And she has been a nervous wreck the last couple of days, which doesn't make it any better for me. So